Hello everyone, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker, and today I'm a part of Hero Art's blog hop celebrating their gorgeous Christmas stamps. I created two cards, this one and this one, and I just have a video today to show you the key elements of my cards. So for the first one with the mistletoe, I'm inking up a stamp with some archival ink in black, and I wanted to show you how I am extending the stems. Super easy to do with the black marker. And now I'm going to color all of the holly with some distress ink. So just use whatever you have. I'm using a combination of 3 different ones, and I'm putting my lightest color down first, and then I'm taking an ink dauber just to kind of take that medium color up halfway. And a dauber is small and it gives you a lot more control. So that's why I'm using a dauber on this. And this is my third one. While I'm doing this, you know how you can put a stamp on a block or a MISTI and bend the stem. So you'll notice 2 of the stems are straighter than one of them. Now I'm taking my darkest color and just putting that on the tips and on the stem of each of the mistletoe. Super easy. Now I was in the mood to fussy cut, so that's what I'm doing, and I have a Copic marker here that I'm covering up that white line along the edges. Usually I don't use a Copic marker, but since I'm not coloring, it doesn't matter if that color bleeds into my project, and it's works better in this application, if that makes sense. Now I'm taking some Distress Stickles, Rock Candy Distress Stickles, and I love how it kind of makes it chunky and shiny, and it also gives something like this more body. It makes it firmer and stand up more. So I always like to use this when I'm doing something holiday or fussy cutting something. Now even though I'm adding it on my stamping pad here, I put it on some packaging because I don't want it to glue to my paper, and this it'll be easy to lift off. Now I'm adding some glossy accents to those berries, and I realized later that I should have waited till the Distress Stickles was dry. Now I've picked up hold on. Okay, I just wanted to slow that down. Now I took some distress ink and I put it on top of my twine to color it to match my project, and now I have some Distress Stickles on my fingers to make the twine glittery, and it also gives it a lot more body. Now I wanted a stamped background. I use these 3 distress inks to stamp my background with the same mistletoe that I cut out, and I grabbed any blue, just grabbed a blue, and I'm leaving a rough white edge around all of the coloring. So I'm going to super speed this up, but I'm not making sure that it's a nice solid background or anything, and I got a little tired of coloring here, so I grabbed my ruler, and I'm just going to cover 3/4 of the page here, and I use that as kind of a graphic twist. I wish I took the time to do the full thing, but see what you think. It's all about trying different things. Now I'm taking my chisel end of my marker and running that along the edge of my paper. So when I put some white cardstock behind this, it'll stand out more. Also a good way to use that chisel end. Now I have a piece of vellum, and I used to glue vellum with glossy accents, but a small dab of multi-medium works much better. And I'm just using a pin to add 3 dots on each side of my paper, and I'll put that down on my card base here, and then I'll stick it in a book so it can dry. This takes a little longer to dry than glossy accents. Now these are somewhat dry, mostly dry, and I'm twisting this and just making that last stem work for me. I have some foam tape in my hands, and I have a scissor here, as you can see. I know you know that. And I'm just cutting a little sliver of that foam tape and putting it on the backs of these leaves. I'm doing it on all of the mistletoe leaves on this one, and then I end up at the very end adding a few on each mistletoe just to kind of glue it down on my card base. Now you can see how this twine is nice and stiff, so I'm just tying a very simple bow here, and then notice it's not on my paper because otherwise that foam tape would be hard to lift up. So I'm doing like a rabbit ear bow here, and then I'll be sticking this down on my card front, adding some foam to the back of that panel, and I'll be finished. This is a great holiday card because it can be used for anyone that celebrates, whether you're Jewish, Christian, you name it, any religion. I think we all want peace in our lives. So you can really use this throughout the whole year. So I'm just adhering this down. I'm trimming a few more of those to glue these down. And what else? There's one other thing. And then once I completely finish my card, sorry about that little bobble, I'm going to add more glossy accents to those berries. But in the meantime, before I do that, I've picked up my white gel pen. I always like to start it on the tip of my finger, and I'm going on top of the vellum with this faux stitching. It's a very subtle look, but it really kind of brings your eyes in to focus more on the mistletoe. And if you mess up, you can use a paper piercer to remove some glossy accents or anything. Now let's move on to this card. I wanted to show you, I've colored my holly pretty simple. I've die cut a hole into this piece of paper. You can use any kind of paper. I use some masking paper, and I'm just using some yellow and a little bit of orange with my brush. I'm just getting some color on that circle. I want it to be like a full harvest moon. And whichever way works best, you can use the dauber, distress soil, whatever turns you on. Also, the background I use distress ink, but you've seen that so many times, I didn't feel like I needed to show it. Now I've used the negative of that circle, and I'm grabbing a darker blue, and I want to start it in the center and then bring my distress tool out towards the edges of my paper. And I want it to be more hazy around the moon. So we'll see how that turns out. Now while I'm doing this, when I lift up my paper, there's a little white edge. You'll see it in a minute. And I ended up just wanting to soften that little white edge. So I don't want to jump too far ahead. I'll stop there. Until we get to that point, I'll have a few more details on my blog. All the supplies will be listed in the description here. And there's a giveaway on my blog as well. Now I'm adding some of that first color distress ink just to kind of blend them. Now you can see that white edge. So I'm taking my circle again, and I just want to soften that. It's nice to have a white edge, kind of like a highlight. So I'm just softening it ever so slightly. Now my card was full, so it cut off while I was coloring this bird. But I used the two distress inks you see here to color the bird. No markers at all. So I'm just going to fussy cut this. I added some white gel accents to the feathers, and now I'm covering up that white edge with a memento marker. You could use a Copic marker in this particular case, and then I have some foam tape behind it. When I put this down, I realized that I cut off some of the feathers, which was totally fine because I had it stamped underneath. And then for the background, I just used this beautiful script on Hero Arts note card. Just stamped it with, I think, bundled sage, and I'm stamped the happy holiday, and I have a glitter pen here. I want for the moon only. I only like to use these as accents. And there you have it. I use glossy accents on the berries. So it was a really fun card to put together. I love coloring holly, and it's a really neat stamp set. So see you back on my blog. Thumbs up if you like this, and have a great week. Alrighty, bye.